have a hard time. They're like, every time I turn my head, my upper traps, and we're going to be kneeling. We're going to do the neck dissociation, kettlebell hold. Now, so everybody in tall kneeling. Okay. Tall kneeling. Okay. So, they initiate the grip. Why do we initiate grip? What does that do to the shoulders? Packs the shoulders, right? So they're going to rip that kettlebell in half to pull in the retractors. So, right? Just like we do with the deadlift. If we let them fold here, what does that encourage the shoulders to do? And what does it pull on? Neck, right? So encourage them to rip kettlebell in half, okay? Shoulders back, and push it towards the floor to activate the lats, okay? So once the lats are activated, okay, what are they less likely to use? Upper traps, right? So don't let me, there you go, good. Okay, now just do some head turns. Okay. And when they turn the head, what do we want to encourage them to do? Breathe, take a breath there. Okay. So this is going to teach them how to dissociate the neck so that when they're carrying something, when they're holding on to something, they're not shrugging it and pulling it into their neck. They're pushing it down. They're using their scap retractors. They're using their lats. They're using their core. Okay? And we dissociate the neck. What's an add-on that we can do to make this a little bit more challenging? Turn. Exactly. So now we can add on some trunk rotation. Right? So we're moving and rotating through the spine, a little bit into the hips. Stay there for a breath.
Or you move it together?
Move it together. Yeah. Good. Turn your head all the way to the right. Girl. Good. Yep. And keep looking. And look. And look over your shoulder and then see how much further you can go. Because if you stop the eyes at a certain range, the body won't go. But if I keep looking for more, we'll find more and we'll move into more. Okay, so long as it's not, you're getting a pinch there, yes. So, Hannah's getting a pinch in her back. Squeeze that between your knees. Okay. So it's gone, but she can't go as far. So what was Hannah doing? She was finding more range in her lower back. We locked up her pelvis, stabilized her lower back, took away that ability to move and rotate into her lower back because we don't want to rotate into low backs. And we moved that more into the thorax, into that rotation there. And we stabilized the pelvis. Okay? But you move quite a bit at your lower back, so physics, right? Energy moves to the area of least resistance. Easy to move into, just going to do it more. Okay? It'll always be quantity over quality. Cool. So, how would we progress them from this? You're like, okay, I like this. They're dissociated. They're not lifting. What can we do to make it more functional? We could, but they got to carry stuff. Deadlift. Right? So, spine supported, suspended, stacked, standing. Okay? So, everyone stand up. Deadlift your kettlebell. Mallory's already got it. Never mind. Because where does the deadlift start now?
You put that back
down. Okay? So, what they might do is when we cue them in, pinch my armpits. Same idea. Okay? Go back down, pinch my armpits. So, if they are a shrugger when they're lifting stuff up, cue them to use their armpits, pinch your finger so the lats come on, and then brace, grip, sniff, lift, and stand. Good. And now in this top position, exactly like we were doing before, pinch my armpit. There you go. Good. Squeeze back here. Now, give me a little neck turn. Neck check. Turn. Okay? So now we took those different spine positions, neck dissociation, and we brought it up in something a little bit more functional. Okay? So that's the progression from there. That's if we want to load the body and the spine, but we want to keep the neck out of the equation. We want to teach them how to get out of that. Right? So hypermobile. How are we doing for time?
Yeah.
Okay. Bands. Okay, so say they're not really good. Not that band.
She must get.
You think Blake was new? Give me that. Okay. Before we do isokinetic exercises, what could we apply first? Yep. Isometrics. Right? How do we do that? So you worked with them. You're like, you know what? We need to do some flexion, some side bend, or some rotation. I don't have a band at home, and blah, blah, blah. What can we use? Hands. Yep. Because then they can apply however much pressure that they need to apply. Right? Nice, easy. And if you're doing front, have them do both hands so it doesn't become this rotation or side bend. Okay? And when they're doing the isometrics, what do we do with the eyes? So if I'm doing side bend or rotation, I want to look that way. I'm going to look left. I'm going to look down. I'm going to look up. Okay? So encourage the eyes to pattern that in. Because we don't want them looking down and then pushing back. It just confuses. Okay? And then have them do, okay, your range of motion's here. Cool. Hold it there. And then see how much further you can go. Oh, I'm a little bit jammed there. 5 seconds, let it go. For me, extension, right? Gets a little jammy. That gets better, right? So you can give them those isometrics in the available range, and then watch how the range of motion improves.
It's not different. Like, if I'm going to look to the left and then stretch it on the right, then when I look to the right, stretch on the right, that again might cause the dysfunction on the side.
Could be joint, could be motor control. Maybe when you look to the left, things retracted and stacked effectively, and maybe when they look to the right, they poke that chin. What's one way that you could to teach them how to control that? How would we train them at home? What could we have them kind of sit up against? Yeah, show us. Wall, just wall. Right? Because there's no point you give them a band or an isometric if they go into that position and they lost the position. There's no point in strengthening that. They're just not aware that they're doing it. All they know is I got a pinchy neck. So retract, and then, yep. There you go. And that's
You use the one where you're laying on your back, pushing your head.
yep. When I want more strength. Yeah. So, like this stuff's good in quadruped, standing, right? Patterning. Use this a lot. When we're getting them on the ground and we're going to initiate some rocking and rolling, and maybe we're going to do, you got somebody in jiu-jitsu or wrestling or just a sport in general where they might make contact with the ground. That's where I'll start to use a foam pad and do some isometrics, almost like a neck bridge. Okay? Here. But you want to be very careful with this, and you don't want them to load it up too soon because they'll lose position and they'll shear and then they compress. And then all of a sudden they're like, I jam my neck. So even with the foam rollers up against the wall, we haven't gone over this one in a while. Most people, this is where they live, right? So over here, I can use my hands. I can get the neck flexors on. I got my posterior pelvic tilt. My ribs are down, okay? And then I'm just going to transition. So if you notice, I'm turning my body with it. Okay, so now I've gone after the lateral sling, lateral neck with lateral core. Okay, anterior, and then posterior. So most people are going to be, this is going to be challenging for them. So you can have them hold the foam roller here and then just pivot through the feet. I've made the mistake before where you're trying to do rotations without turning, and I kink my neck because I'm adding a crap ton of compression and it sheared and jammed me. Yeah. So anytime we're doing kind of those stacks, like we're doing like full body, move the body. Yeah.
Yeah, when would you pick back of the head versus would that be back to that like systemic test, like the
Yeah.
single leg raise?
Yeah.
Whichever felt better.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if they are limited with neck extension, they'll probably have some weakness there too. Okay. This is probably the one where I would play with a little bit of flexion extension, but it's upper. It's the CV region. I'm not doing lower. I'm just doing kind of the occiput here. That's the only time where I'll play with that. Okay. I will do a little bit of flexion here, but I made the mistake of trying to do this one time, and that jacked up my neck for about a week. Yeah, it wasn't smart, but I was experimenting and realized not the best strategy. So we will not prescribe that. So anyway, that's, in a nutshell, is knowing when to integrate with kinetic chains, knowing when to dissociate, and then know when to load. Okay? That's basically it. The neck is important, but it's not overly complicated. It's either somebody's hypermobile, they need to strengthen, stabilize motor control, they need to mobilize, soft tissue work, mobilization, okay? But for most people, it's just either get them to come out of that neck and carry stuff, or strengthen it.
And does the load, resistance, and strength only come after full range of motion is required without them?
Ideally, yeah. Because if they're locked and compressed, and you're adding resistance on top of stiffness, what's it going to encourage more? More stiffness, right? So again, what did we come into this world with first? Mobility. Restore the movement, restore the mobility. Looks good, happy with that, load it up, right? Cool.
It's like,
Yeah,
they're not there, like, can I just be like, well, these?
yeah, you can guide them, for sure. Active assisted, for sure. Yeah. We do that all the time. Like, somebody comes in with an acute neck, we get them laying down, they're like, oh, I don't want to turn my head. Okay, I'm like, well, turn your head to the left, because they'll feel supported.
Yeah.
But again, that's going to be more like the acute necks. They're not going to be coming in here. Yeah, but yes, if someone's got acute neck pain, giving them active assisted range of motion. Okay, hold that there, do some breath work, come back, do some eye exercises. Yeah, more on the therapy side of things. Cool.